Have you ever wondered about the true cost of helping someone? Not just the time or the money, but the real, unseen price we sometimes pay. It's a question that can lead us down some deep, emotional rabbit holes. Today I want to share a story with you. It's a story about a man named Arthur, a simple baker in a small, quiet town, and how one act of kindness nearly cost him everything he held dear. It's a story that might just change the way you see the world and your place in it. Arthur was known for two things: his incredible sourdough bread and his even more incredible heart. His bakery, the Daily Rise, was the town's warm, fragrant center. Every morning before dawn, while the town slept, Arthur was already at work, kneading dough, the rhythmic thud, a familiar heartbeat in the quiet streets. He didn't just sell bread, he gave it away. A loaf for the family struggling to make ends meet, a sweet roll for a child with a scraped knee, a warm pastry for the weary traveler just passing through. His generosity was as reliable as the sunrise. He believed that kindness, like yeast, could make the whole community rise. One cold autumn evening, just as Arthur was about to lock up, a stranger stumbled through the door. The man was thin, his clothes were tattered, and his eyes held a desperate, hunted look. He introduced himself as Leo and explained that he'd lost his job, his home, everything. He hadn't eaten in days. Without a second thought, Arthur sat him down, gave him a hearty stew and a large loaf of his best bread. He didn't ask too many questions. He saw a person in need, and he acted. Leo was grateful, almost to the point of tears. He asked if he could stay for a while, maybe do some odd jobs around the bakery to earn his keep. Arthur, seeing the sincerity in his eyes, agreed. He offered Leo the small room above the shop. "Just until you get back on your feet," Arthur said with a warm smile. For the next few weeks, Leo was the perfect helper. He swept the floors, cleaned the trays, and even started learning how to mix the dough. The bakery seemed to have a new energy, and Arthur felt good. He had done the right thing. He had helped someone rise again. But then, things started to change. Small things, at first. A few coins missing from the cash register at the end of the day. Arthur brushed it off, thinking he'd missed. Then, a sack of expensive flour would go missing. Arthur confronted Leo gently, who denied it with such conviction, such hurt in his eyes, that Arthur felt guilty for even asking. He told himself he was being paranoid. After all, Leo was his friend now, wasn't he? The townspeople started to whisper. They had always admired Arthur, but now they looked at him with a mix of pity and suspicion. "That drifter he took in," they'd murmur. "He's bad news." Business at the bakery began to slow. Old, familiar faces stopped coming in for their daily loaf. The warmth of the Daily Rise was growing cold, replaced by a chilling air of doubt. Arthur's heart ached. He was losing the trust of the community he had spent his life serving. The cost of his kindness was starting to feel impossibly high. The breaking point came one morning when Arthur arrived to find the bakery ransacked. The cash register was pried open and empty. Sacks of flour and sugar were torn. Their contents spilled across the floor like a bitter, white snow, and Leo was gone. The room upstairs was empty, stripped of anything valuable. The only thing left behind was a single, half-eaten loaf of Arthur's sourdough on the table. A final, cruel mockery of the kindness he had been shown. The devastation was absolute, not just the financial loss, which was significant, but the emotional blow was crushing. Arthur sat in the middle of his ruined bakery, the smell of wasted ingredients filling the air, and felt a profound emptiness. The man he had trusted, the man he had tried to lift up, had dragged him down into the dirt. His generosity had been repaid with betrayal. The whispers in the town grew louder now, a chorus of "I told you so." Arthur felt completely and utterly alone. For the first time in his life, the baker who made everything rise felt himself sinking. He closed the bakery. The doors to the Daily Rise remained shut for days, then weeks. The heart of the town had stopped beating. Arthur stayed inside, the silence of his home a deafening roar. He questioned everything. Was his belief in kindness a fool's errand? Was it naive to see the good in people? The cost of helping had been his livelihood, his reputation, and his faith in humanity. It felt broken, the world seemed dark, and his own light felt extinguished. He wondered if he could ever trust anyone again, or if it was safer to just lock his heart away, just as he had locked the doors to his shop. One afternoon, there was a soft knock on his door. It was Mrs. Gable, an elderly woman he had given bread to for years. She held a small, covered basket. "Arthur," she said, her voice gentle, "we miss you. The town isn't the same without you." She handed him the basket. Inside was a collection of things from the townspeople. A few dollars from one, a bag of sugar from another, some eggs from a local farmer. It wasn't much, but it was everything. "You helped us rise for years," she said, a tear in her eye. "Now it's our turn to help you." One by one, they came. The family he'd helped, the child he'd comforted, the traveler he'd fed. They came with what little they had, but more importantly, they came with their support. They helped him clean the bakery. They painted the walls. They restocked the shelves. They didn't see a fool who had been tricked. They saw the kind man who had been the bedrock of their community for decades. They reminded him that one bad seed doesn't spoil the whole harvest. The experience with Leo had been a shocking, painful cost. It had tested Arthur to his very core. But the response from his community revealed a different kind of truth. The true cost of helping wasn't what Leo had taken from him. The real cost would have been to never help at all. The cost would have been a life without the connections, the love, and the community that was now rallying around him. To close his heart because of one betrayal would mean missing out on the profound beauty of 100 acts of love. With renewed spirit, Arturo Pined, the daily rise. The aroma of baking bread once again filled the town square, warmer and more inviting than ever before. He was still the same, generous Arthur, perhaps a little wiser, a little more cautious, but his heart remained open. He understood now that helping others is a risk. Sometimes you will get hurt. Sometimes your kindness will be taken for granted. That is the shocking and sometimes painful cost. But what the story teaches us is that the reward is infinitely greater. The reward is connection. It's community. It's knowing that you are a part of something bigger than yourself. It's the ripple effect of your actions. The good that you put out into the world, that, in ways you can't always predict, comes back to you when you need it most. Don't let the fear of the cost stop you from paying the price of kindness, because a life lived with a closed heart is the greatest cost of all. So I ask you again, what is the cost of helping? It's the risk of being hurt. But the profit? The profit is a life rich with meaning, love, and the incredible strength of human connection. And that's a return on investment that you simply can't put a price on. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, please consider sharing it. You never know who might need to hear it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that make you think and feel. Until next time.